guys, today we're gonna make two different types of salsa. So one of them is una salsa para la mesa, to see like a table salsa. You would have it on whatever you want, chips and salsa or tortillas or frijoles, cualquiera. And then we have a roasted jalapeno and olive oil salsa that's super delicious but kind of spicy. This one, the table salsa, you can make it as spicy as you want, meaning I normally do about 3 tomatoes, and here's my salsa cup, right? And it normally fills it up. This is about 1.5 cups. And I like my salsa spicy, so I put 2 serranos and a chile güero. Chile güero is more for the flavor. But you can add half a serrano or 1 serrano depending on your spiciness. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some cold pressed avocado oil. You're gonna put it on your hand, and then you're just gonna put it on your tomatoes, on your chiles. You wanna keep the little palito. Wait, what is this? Stem. You normally wanna keep the stem because when you're putting it on the comal, you're gonna wanna turn them, and these are like little handles. And then I'll do the same thing to my 1/4 of an onion for this one. This one doesn't have any onions. This is just like jalapenos, garlic, and olive oil. I'll do them to all of them, just a little bit of oil. You don't want to get too crazy. And then I'll do the same thing to your garlics. I normally just grab them like that. Okay. And then we're gonna move them and put them on our comal. And the nice thing about them is that you can make them all at the same time. That way you don't get bored of having the same salsa. The tomatoes go in the middle. That's normally how I like to do them, and I like to have my garlics at the side. And so for my roasted jalapeno salsa, I do about 8 chiles, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then I do about 6 garlics. And then for my roasted table salsa, I do 2 garlics for 3 tomatoes, and then my chile serranos. Okay, about once you start to see it kind of burn, you're gonna wanna turn them like that, because they're gonna start to blister, and that's exactly how you want them. And this is why you need the little palito, because then you kind of have to grab it like that instead. You're gonna turn all of them. All of them. So if you're not used to touching hot food or working kind of like with a comal, and you don't want to burn yourself, I think you can also use tongs. I've never used them because qué vergüenza. Soy mexicana, ni puedes tocarlo. But you turn on these little guys. These guys need to come in the middle more. I'll remove this tomato. They need to blister a little more. Pretty right. Like this guy right here. He looks like he's almost done. Right? This guy needs to be turned this way. This guy needs to be turned again. And then I'm gonna come back here, flip them again. Because you want all the sides to be blistery. It's gonna add way more flavor to your salsa. You want them super roasted and toasty. And another thing, like, don't be afraid to burn them. You know? Poquito quemadas está bien. I'm gonna come back and, woo, these ones are hot. Turn all my garlics again. Don't forget a garlic, because then what happens is one of them is all nice and toasty and the other one's kind of raw. Okay? This will be the second time we do it, and then we'll do it again when they're done. Okay, so now my chiles look pretty much done. They've blistered everywhere. You see it all steamy. I'm gonna turn it off. And you see like this one's kind of like bubbling through the heat. My garlics look pretty good. They're all really roasted. Whichever little cascara or what do you skin you forgot to take off, any little pieces will just automatically come off. Okay? So I'm gonna do the table salsa first. I'm gonna take it out and make sure it's all done. It should be all nice and soft like that. I like to have the skin in my salsa, so I'll scrape it off sometimes. Scrape it. It adds some texture and flavor. I'm gonna grab 2 of these guys. That guy got really burnt, that's fine. I'm gonna take off the palito, or ¿cómo lo dices, nena? The stem. Take off the stem, pop it in here. Take off the stem, and you can just kind of like pull it out. Pop it in here. Get my onion, pop it in here. I think I need 1 more of these guys. I want it nice and burnt. So I add a good amount of salt, and it's really hard to kind of say how much to add. I was taught, you know, sal como tú quieras, meaning salt as you want it. So start off with about a teaspoon of coarse sea salt, and then after you're done with the salsa, you can taste it, and then you can always add more salt. You just wouldn't do coarse, you would do fine. And now I'm just gonna blend it in my Vitamix. I can feel kind of the chunks. Turn it up a little bit. Every now and then I'm going to give it a little stir like that. Popping up like that because there's still probably like a big tomato that needs to be chopped up. Super delicious. And then that's your table salsa. Okay, I'm gonna get extra virgin olive oil. I'm gonna put about a cup. And I know that sounds like so much, but you want the salsa to be super creamy. I'm gonna get all my garlics. Remember, if you're kind of like struggling with that, you can always just use the I think people call them tongs or cualquier cosa. I'm gonna take off all of the tops. Turn that. I'll take off all the tops. I'm gonna put some coarse sea salt. For this one, I do about that much, which is about a teaspoon. And then maybe sometimes a little bit more. Once again, after you have blended it, then you can kind of figure out if you want more sea salt or less sea salt. But if you're gonna blend it and then taste it, you wanna make sure that you use fine sea salt. And now I'm gonna bring my olive oil, I'm gonna pour it in. I'm gonna only pour in about half. And then I'm gonna take it to the blender. So I'm gonna blend it. Slowly pour in the rest. And that'll kind of give me the consistency I want. And this salsa is super good because it tastes like it has avocado in it, but it doesn't. You want it super, super creamy. So you're gonna leave this one there a lot longer than the previous salsa I showed you. Okay, sorry. So the end result is this olive oil that sits on top and this really creamy kind of like center jalapeno part. Super delicious. Enjoy, guys.